EMA GP Committee Chair, Dr. Richard Vautrey. Good to see you this morning. Look, what is your expectation in terms of this vaccine, if it is approved this week, which looks likely? How is that going to work in terms of getting it out there and the rollout, which is urgently needed?
This will make a significant difference, as you've just heard in that report. We've had a dreadful year. We want to have a 2021 where we see patients protected from this really deadly virus. And the Oxford vaccine will enable us to do that for our most vulnerable patients. We've already seen over 500,000 vaccines given in the UK in the last few weeks. We will see a step change in the vaccination programme with the Oxford vaccine because it's much easier to give to our patients.
In terms of the timeline here, I mean, some people in government are even saying, well, you know, we could see significant changes in how we're living our lives by the end of February. I mean, where are GP surgeries and community pharmacies in position of actually beginning to see a lot of people, you know, every day of the week?
Well, until we've got people protected, we won't be able to see people face-to-face in the way that we traditionally did so. What we don't want to do is go back to waiting rooms full of people coughing over one another and potentially infecting one another, particularly when we have coronavirus circulating in our communities to such a great extent. So we do need an effective vaccine. We need an effective vaccination programme. We need the vaccine to be in our surgery so that we can give it to our patients. As soon as we get it, we'll give it. And I think we need to ensure that our most vulnerable patients particularly are protected as soon as possible.
Yeah, but I mean, my point was how prepared are you for the rollout programme and the fact that you are going to have to, you know, you'd be working 7 days a week, presumably, to get this rolled out to as many people as possible?
Yeah, well, it certainly will be our number one priority. We want to protect our patients, and we will do everything we possibly can to do that. We recognise that it's going to be a really tough few weeks, few months as we roll out the vaccine programme, as well as in the middle of the winter, dealing with the huge pressures that we always have to deal with. We've not only got increased coronavirus cases, we've also got the usual winter illnesses and many other patients who have long-term conditions who need our care on a day-to-day basis. The general practice service and NHS in general is under huge pressure, but we know that this is a really important priority, not just for our patients, but for the nations as a whole. And so we intend to put every effort that we can into rolling out this programme. As soon as we get the vaccine, we'll provide it to our patients.
Can I ask you how you see things moving forward? I mean, you talked about face-to-face appointments. I mean, obviously, the way we deal with our GPs has had to be revolutionised over the last 6-7 months, and we've a lot of these sort of online appointments and video calls and just doing stuff over email and text messaging. In some respects, that's worked quite well for a lot of the day-to-day stuff, hasn't it? Will a lot of that stay in place?
Yes, we anticipate that some of the changes that we've made, will be beneficial for everyone. We know that it saves people having to come to the surgery when it's appropriate to do so, particularly if people are working. They don't need to necessarily take time off work in the way that they did before, if they can have a remote consultation through the telephone. Similarly, patients don't need to travel, so we reduce the carbon footprint as well. So there's a lot to be said for the benefits of telephone or remote consultations, but we know that many patients want to come into the surgery. We want to see our patients face-to-face in ways that we've not been able to for the last few months, so that we can consult with them in the way that they feel is most appropriate. So we want to offer a range of possibilities, and conquering the coronavirus pandemic will enable us to go back to do that.
And can I also ask how you're dealing with local pharmacies or community pharmacies, because they, in many respects, they've very much become the sort of frontline operators, haven't they, for a lot of our sort of day-to-day conditions?
Yes, well, general practice has been open throughout the pandemic. We have been seeing patients throughout the pandemic, but in as safe way as possible. And pharmacists have been doing the same. I think they found it frustrating that patients have had to wait outside and coming one by one into a more limited space within a pharmacy. So everyone working in the community wants to really get back to some degree of normality. We want to be able to treat our patients in the most effective way that we possibly can. And we want to be able to have them enabled to come into our buildings whenever it's safe to do so. And so it's been a real challenge for all of us in the community.
Richard, good to talk to you.
Thank you.